Hi, I'm Colin with FastLab UTV. Today we're going to be installing this Trinity Stage 5 full exhaust system available from our website. This is the X3 XRS. It fits 2017 to 2020 models, and this is the full Cerakote system with the DYNOJET tuner and the Trinity tune on it. So let's get started. The first step is to remove this rear fascia, and there's 5 bolts here. Use a T30 Torx, one at the top, one at the bottom, other sides, and then the center one as well. Next step is to remove the exhaust springs. A little tip that we like to use is grab some thick gauge wire and you just wrap it through the spring and be able to pull. It gives you a little better leverage. We're going to slip this in here, pull it back out. Pop that spring off. Same thing on the next one, slip it in there. Pop that spring off, and so forth with the other 2. So next step is to remove the actual muffler. We have 2 bolts on each side, on the side edges of them. So we're gonna go ahead and get our wrench in here, get around the back side. So we've removed all 4 bolts. Save these because you're gonna reuse them later. Go ahead and just grab this stock exhaust, wiggle it out of there, and just throw it in the trash. Now we can remove the heat shield. Just 4 10mm bolts here. Now we're gonna unplug the O2 sensor harness. So you just go ahead and pull up and pull that baby out. So that will come out with this header pipe. Then we want to move to the hose clamp back here and go ahead and loosen that up. Next, you want to locate the band clamp right at the turbo, and it's a 7/16 or an 11mm. Both will fit pretty well. You need a deep socket if you're going to use a socket, otherwise a wrench will work. And you want to just loosen this up pretty loose so that the whole exhaust will start to want to come off. So you need to completely remove the nut from the V-band clamp, and you're going to have to open that up all the way. It's really tight on the V-band where it connects to the turbo, and I suggest having 2 people at this point. One can kind of support it, one person opens up that V-band, and you kind of pry it off, wiggle it off. Also the heat shield, you're going to need to be able to remove that all the way as well to be able to crease it off of the bracket that you'll see back here. So we broke this free and you can pull it back, but this is where the bracket sits, right inside of this heat shield, and then this is the V-band clamp right here that you need to take all the way off. This is the bracket where that heat shield sits back here. And so once you get all those loose, you can just wiggle this header pipe out, and you'll need to remove your O2 sensor as well. So now you got to remove your O2 sensor from the stock mid pipe, and we're going to just throw a little bit of anti-seize on here just to make it easier if we have to service it again. Don't load it up too much, just a little bit in there. Go ahead and thread that in. Tighten it up. Then grab your V-band clamp, pull that from that stock exhaust. Just go ahead and spread this and slip it on your new Trinity mid pipe. Get that preset so we know when we get back underneath that we're going to be able to access this. So we got our mid pipe down here. Got this heat shield put on loosely again. Definitely 2 people again to get this on is easiest. One to kind of support and get the alignment between the mid pipe and the turbo flange, and then spread that V clamp and get it so both sides are hooked into it. Once you see it, it'll be pretty easy to tell. And get that on there, and go ahead and hand tighten up that V-band clamp, and then we're gonna be able to adjust. You don't want to fully clamp it yet because we need to adjust with the rest of the exhaust to get everything lined up. So the next step is to attach the muffler, the Trinity muffler bracket, to this flat panel we have from removing the stock one. These are carriage bolts, and you need a 13mm socket to take the nut off underneath. So we're gonna pull these carriage bolts and then drop our bracket in here and drop them back through. Now we got all the carriage bolts out. You want to pull this plate off and replace it with the Trinity plate. Drop that in place, drop your carriage bolts in, and go ahead and just put one nut on to start it, hold it in place. Grab the other 4 that you just removed, get those set up, and get the bolts in place. Now we're gonna put the muffler pipes on. So we take the 2 mufflers, face them with the label down, and when you do that, you have your pipe facing up, and then go ahead and hand start these screws as we get them lined up. So you can see we got these all hand tight, but you want to make sure you don't forget the spring mounting tabs. They go obviously in line with the 2 tabs on the mid pipe. So go ahead and get that set up and run these guys down. So you tighten them out so they line right up with the tabs on the mid pipe. Now we're going to get our muffler brackets put in place, and we're going to take the hardware with a lock washer and a washer and drop it in from behind. On the top, it's threaded in the bracket, so we'll go ahead and tighten that guy on. So then the lower, we're going to grab a bolt, and then it's a small washer on the nut, slip that through the back, nut on the front, same with the other side. So now you take your muffler assembly, everything's assembled loosely so we have some play. Good to have a second set of hands here when you slip it in, and line up the mid pipe with your dual outlet pipe. Kind of wiggle them into place, get them set into your bracket here, and get that dry fit, and go ahead and grab the other half of the clamp. Get that started so that you can safely leave these in place. And we'll go ahead and move to the next step after tightening this down. So go ahead and get the upper and lower bolts for the clamp, the muffler clamp started. So now once you get everything tightened here, you can go ahead and clamp all these down, torque them to spec, and move over to the springs. So we'll go ahead and slip the springs on next. Okay, so now we're gonna get our springs installed. We've already done 3 of them, the 2 at the front here, and then these 2 at the back, one side through your little bracket that comes with it. You can grab with pliers, or you can also use the wire trick. I'll do it with pliers this time. Just stretch that guy on. Get them set on there. And they're good to go with the springs. So the last step is now, once you have everything dry fit, just go ahead and go back through and tighten everything. Start at the band clamp at the front. Make sure that's nice and tight, and just work your way back through all the bolts. So now I have this bracket that we have tight. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that. That's the last step to installing the exhaust. Then we'll move to the tuner. So now we're going to move to the tune, and we've pulled our power vision and the cable It already comes with the X3 plug adapter. So we'll go ahead and pull those out of the box. In the glove box is where the connector is. So go ahead and you can plug the connector into your PowerVision first. Pretty straightforward. Clicks in. Nice sealed plug. And we'll move to plugging this guy in. Go ahead and take the connector out here for the ECU. Nice sealed connector there. Slip your PowerVision plug on, make sure that's seated. So now you can power it up, or you gotta power the car. So go ahead and turn the power onto the car. You'll see it fire up. Let it go through all the things, all required files found. We'll go ahead and press the round enter button in the middle. And you'll see three tunes here actually that Trinity preloads onto here. So you can just select it and you can see what the tune's for. So the first one is a Trinity slip-on stock intake, and you can see what they're for. So we did this is a 2017 model. So we're gonna select the 1005, which is a Trinity Stage 5 full exhaust stock intake, and you can read the rest of it as you want. Go ahead and press select to start flashing. And you got to pair it to a vehicle. Once you pair it to a vehicle, you can't release it until you put it back to stock. So we're going to hit click to continue. And yes, we're going to delete the stock files. Flash ECU is selected tune file, yes. And you'll see the countdown as it starts to flash the car. You hear the car reset itself. Flash complete. Turn key off, then on. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the key. That'll turn the car off. And put it back in. Push the start button just momentarily. And now we will push the enter button again. And that's it. So we're all good. And here's the channels you can add. If you want to display this, you can add air fuel ratio. You can see another video we do where we talk about what the DYNOJET can display.